In 1981, the small town of Keddie, California, was a peaceful getaway for those looking to escape the hustle and bustle of city life. Nestled in the Sierra Nevada mountains, it was the perfect place for families to relax and enjoy nature. But for the Sharp family, their vacation would take a horrifying turn. What started as a quiet retreat ended in one of the most brutal and mysterious murders in American history. The Keddie Cabin Murders still haunt investigators and locals to this day, a nightmare no one could have imagined. Keddie, California, was a small, quiet community located in the scenic Sierra Nevada mountains. And known for its peaceful atmosphere and natural beauty, Keddie was a popular spot for families wanting a break from city life. Surrounded by towering pine trees and fresh mountain air, it offered a serene retreat where people could enjoy the outdoors, relax, and recharge. In 1981, Keddie was the perfect escape for families seeking solitude and safety. But behind this picturesque landscape, something dark and unimaginable was about to unfold. The Sharp family, led by Glenna Sue Sharp, had recently moved to Cabin 28 in Keddie, California. Sue, a single mother of 5 children, was trying to create a fresh start for her family in this quiet, rural community. Life hadn't been easy for Sue, but she was determined to provide a stable environment for her kids. Cabin 28 became their new home, where they could settle down and build a future. The Sharp family seemed like any other, just trying to find peace and stability in their new surroundings. Little did they know, their lives were about to be shattered. On the night of April 11, 1981, Sue Sharp was home at Cabin 28 with her teenage son John, his friend Dana Wingate, and her younger daughter Tina. The evening seemed like any other in the small, quiet town of Keddie. Sue's younger children Greg, Rick, and their friend Justin were staying in a nearby cabin, just a short walk away. The night was calm and peaceful, with no indication of the horror that was about to unfold. As the hours passed, something unimaginable happened inside Cabin 28, something that would haunt the small community forever. The next morning, on April 12, 1981, Sheila Sharp, Sue's 14-year-old daughter, returned home after spending the night at a neighbor's cabin. What she walked into would change her life forever. As Sheila opened the door to Cabin 28, she was met with a gruesome scene. Inside, she found her mother, Sue, her brother John, and his friend Dana Wingate brutally murdered. The living room was in complete disarray, with signs of a violent struggle. Overwhelmed by shock and horror, Sheila quickly ran to the neighbors to get help, marking the beginning of one of the most disturbing unsolved murder cases in American history. The scene inside Cabin 28 was horrifying. Sue, John, and Dana were found bound with medical tape and electrical wire, showing clear signs of being overpowered. Their bodies bore the marks of brutal violence, bludgeoned, strangled, and stabbed multiple times. Blood splattered across the walls told the story of a fierce and violent struggle. The attackers had shown no mercy. Sue was found near the couch, her hands and feet tied, while John and Dana were discovered close by, also bound and beaten beyond recognition. The sheer brutality of the crime shocked the small community and left investigators grappling with the horror that had unfolded in this once quiet cabin. Amidst the horrific scene inside Cabin 28, one unsettling detail stood out. Tina Sharp, Sue's 12-year-old daughter, was missing. While Sue, John, and Dana were found murdered, Tina's absence raised immediate concerns. There was no sign of her at the crime scene, which added a chilling layer of fear and confusion. Was she taken by the killers? Was she another victim? Or had she somehow escaped? Her disappearance remained a haunting mystery, and for years there were no answers. This only deepened the dread surrounding the case, leaving investigators and the public desperate for clues about what had happened to Tina. In a strange twist to this horrific story, Sue's younger sons, Rick and Greg, along with their friend Justin, were found unharmed in the adjoining bedroom. Remarkably, they claimed to have slept through the entire massacre. This detail raised many questions. How could 3 young boys sleep through such a violent event? Did they hear anything unusual? Or were they simply too young to comprehend what was happening? Their accounts were puzzling to investigators, who sought to understand how they escaped the horror that unfolded just a few feet away. The presence of the surviving children added complexity to an already chilling case, leaving many to wonder how they managed to remain untouched by the violence that claimed their family. The initial police investigation into the Keddie Cabin murders began quickly, but authorities faced numerous challenges. They arrived at the scene to find a horrific crime that left them scrambling for clues. Unfortunately, early efforts were hindered by a lack of solid evidence. The brutal nature of the crime left behind a chaotic scene, making it difficult to determine what had happened. Investigators interviewed the surviving children, neighbors, and anyone who might have seen or heard something that night. However, leads were scarce, and many of the initial interviews yielded little useful information. The lack of witnesses or clear suspects left law enforcement frustrated as they struggled to piece together the events of that fateful night. The local community was also anxious for answers, sharing in the pain and fear that enveloped Keddie after such a tragic event. As days turned into weeks, the pressure mounted for authorities to find justice for the Sharp family. As investigators began to piece together the evidence, several theories emerged about the motive behind the Keddie Cabin murders. Some believed that Sue Sharp may have been the primary target. This theory stemmed from reports of personal conflicts in her life, including disputes with individuals in the community. Many speculated that these conflicts could have escalated into violence, leading someone to attack her and her family. On the other hand, There were those who thought it might have been a random act of violence. Some believed that the murders could have been a robbery gone wrong, with the killer seeking money or valuables. The brutal nature of the crime left room for speculation, as it was hard to determine whether the violence was personal or a result of desperation. The lack of concrete evidence made it challenging for authorities to lean towards one theory over another. As time passed, the community was left grappling with uncertainty and fear, wondering what could have motivated such a horrific act against a seemingly innocent family. One of the children who survived that tragic night was Justin Smart. He was staying with Sue's younger sons in the adjoining bedroom and claimed to have slept through the horrific events. However, when he spoke to the police, some of his statements seemed inconsistent. Justin mentioned seeing parts of the crime, but the details were unclear, leaving investigators puzzled. Justin's father, Martin Smart, quickly became a person of interest in the case. His connection to the crime drew attention, especially after a strange letter surfaced. In this letter, Martin confessed to his wife that he had hurt someone badly. This admission raised immediate suspicions about his involvement, but law enforcement did not act on it for years. The lack of action regarding Martin's letter left many wondering if he had more involvement in the murders than anyone initially suspected. As time passed, the questions surrounding Justin's statements in his father's letter only deepened the mystery of the Keddie Cabin Murders. In 1984, a grim discovery was made when Tina Sharp's skull was found nearly 50 miles away from Keddie. This shocking find reopened the case, bringing renewed attention and hope for answers. However, it also deepened the mystery surrounding the murders. Despite the discovery, there were still very few concrete answers about what had happened to Tina and her family that night. As the investigation progressed, many began to point out numerous mistakes and mishandlings in the case. Evidence was reportedly lost or ignored, frustrating both law enforcement and the community. Some believed that the case was either mismanaged or even deliberately sabotaged, leading to speculation and distrust. The discovery of Tina's remains added a chilling layer to the already tragic story, but the lack of proper handling of evidence left many questions unanswered, and the search for justice continued. As the investigation dragged on, a controversial theory emerged. Some believed that law enforcement corruption might have played a role in the mishandling of the Keddie Cabin Murders case. Many in the community felt that certain individuals might have been protected due to Pingpro connections, raising suspicions about the integrity of the investigation. Among the prime suspects were Martin Smart and his friend, Bobo Bed. Both men had questionable alibis on the night of the murders. Investigators suspected they may have had a motive, but despite the suspicions, no charges were ever filed against them. This lack of accountability only fueled the community's frustration and distrust, leading to further theories of corruption and cover-ups. The idea that powerful individuals could evade justice added to the pain of the victims' families and left many unanswered questions lingering in the air. Despite multiple suspects and various theories, the Keddie Cabin Murders remain unsolved. Over the years, the case gradually went cold, leaving families and the community with more questions than answers. The brutal nature of the crime haunted those who lived in Keddie, and for a long time, there was little hope of finding justice for the victims. Decades later, the case was reopened by a new team of investigators eager to uncover the truth. They revisited the evidence and discovered previously overlooked details, including DNA samples that had not been tested before. This new evidence reignited hope for solving the case and brought renewed attention to the tragedy that occurred in Cabin 28. The potential for breakthroughs in forensic science gave the community a glimmer of hope that they might finally find answers to this haunting mystery. The Keddie murders have gained significant public fascination over the years. They have become the subject of numerous true crime shows, podcasts, and documentaries. People are drawn to the chilling details of the case and the unanswered questions that linger. The brutality of the murders and the mystery surrounding them continue to captivate audiences. This ongoing interest reflects society's obsession with unsolved crimes and the darker aspects of human nature. Many are compelled to dive deep into the story, exploring every theory and possible lead. The case has become a haunting reminder of how a peaceful community can be shattered by violence, leaving families and friends searching for closure. As long as the questions remain, so too will the fascination with the Keddie Cabin Murders. The Keddie Cabin Murders left a profound impact on the small community of Keddie. What was once a peaceful town, known for its quiet charm and family-friendly atmosphere, was suddenly filled with fear and uncertainty. Residents were shaken, no longer feeling safe in their homes. The idea that a brutal crime could happen in their midst was terrifying. As the investigation dragged on without answers, the community struggled to cope with the unsettling reality that the killer was still at large. Neighbors became suspicious of one another, and the carefree nature of life in Keddie was replaced by anxiety and mistrust. The Keddie Cabin Murders stand as one of the most horrifying and perplexing unsolved crimes in American history. The memory of that tragic night lingers on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can exist within a seemingly normal community. Even decades later, the echoes of those events continue to haunt Keddie, leaving the town forever changed. And with that said, thanks for watching True Stories. If this tale of mystery and superstition caught your interest, hit that subscribe button to join us for more fascinating stories from history's strangest corners. Until next time, stay curious.